you're running for mayor of a city, and you are telling me that when you're angry at somebody black, you call them the N-word?
No.
So if you're a white person who's in the Ku Klux Klan who shows a Nazi symbols and hates black people, and
well, that's one reason that's one reason I'm not, I don't use that term anymore. I believe in what I believe about race and everything else, but I don't like the term. I don't like, Ku Klux Klan. All it is, it has the Jewish Hollywood, image of some white guys in sheets hanging a black guy somewhere who was falsely accused of raping a white woman, and I don't want to be associated with.
All right, I understand that you don't like the term white supremacy. Are you okay with the N-word?
Well, I mean, they say it. When I lived in South Jackson, the blacks call themselves N-words all the time.
Do you not understand that when a black person calls another black person the N-word, it's very different than if somebody you.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, so I'm asking you, do you use that word to reference black people?
Well, yeah, I'm like, when I'm mad, I think everybody does.
No, everybody. No, sir. No, sir. With respect.
I don't say
no. Hold on. There is not one white person in my orbit when they get mad call a black person the N-word. I
don't call a black person. I say, if a black person does me wrong, when I go home, I might say
the N-word.
Well, that damn.
Whoa. Okay. First of all, you can't say that word on the air, sir. Do you realize
sir.
Do you realize that you're running for mayor of a city, and you are telling me that when you're angry at somebody black, you call them the N-word when you go home?
I don't call them in person. Nothing. I go home and I might say that the word I'm not supposed to use.
Do you why did me why? Why wouldn't you just say I'm angry at that person? Why would you call them the N-word? You're running for mayor and you're normalizing using the N-word, sir. Do you
I'm not. I just said I would never do it in public. I said when I get home, if a black person did me wrong in public,
why won't you
curse them and call them the N-word?
Got you. Well, then you're a coward. Why won't you say it in person? Then you'll say it behind.
Because I don't want to get beat up and
that's the definition of a coward, then, right? Isn't it? You'll go home and use a racist term, but you won't use that racist term to their face.
It's not a matter of using racist.
Yes, it is. The N-word.
If a black man did another black man wrong in public, he might go home to his house.
I'm not talking about. It's again. You're trying to conflate the two, sir. You're trying to make it like a black person calling a black person that is the same as you, who is a former member of.
I don't say it's the same.
Of course it's not.
If somebody does anybody wrong, regardless of race, religion, creed, ethnicity, they're going to go home and they're going to say
no, they're not. Well, I've never. You know why I don't do that? Because I'm not a racist. And if a black person treats me bad, I look at them the same as a white person. I say, hey, that's an a-hole. That's a jerk. He treated me bad. Why use the N-word, which is one of the most disgusting words in the dictionary, and you're normalizing it? You're saying you go home and you'll call them the N-word. Sir, you're trying to be the mayor of a city where black people live in your community. Do you think they would appreciate the fact that when you're angry at a black person, maybe even someone you would have to work with, that you would go home and call them the N-word? And you expect people to be okay with that? And you say, well, everybody does it. No, sir. The people that go home and call, with all due respect, the people that go home and call black people the N-word are racist and bigots and probably former members of the Ku Klux Klan. Do you understand that that's the group that you're in?
No, I'm not. I haven't been associated with the Klan in over 30 years.
But you were, and it doesn't sound like you've changed. You're normalizing going home and calling a black person the N-word as a Republican, and you're trying to become the mayor of a city, sir. Can't you admit that that's wrong? Can't you admit that that's disgusting?
Like I said, I would never call anybody by an ethnic or racial term.
But you do it when you go home.
If you say it makes me a coward, maybe so.
Well,
I don't know.
You're the kind of guy. You're the kind of guy that calls somebody an N-word under their breath so that they can't hear it. It makes you a racist and it makes you a coward. Why don't you admit that?
No, I wouldn't. It makes me a coward if I don't want to get killed, I guess. Okay. I don't want to get killed because I've been beat up for no reason.
Well,
My
guess
house
what?
was robbed in South Jackson constantly.
Okay.
I couldn't go 3 blocks away to the post office without the damn house being ransacked.
And there are only black people that commit crimes? Is that what you're saying? They were only black people?
No, I'm not saying that, but 12%. They're 12% of the national population. They commit over 51% of the violent crime.
So they're all N-word then? Is that so? When you go home, you just call them the N-word?
Well, not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
There are plenty of law-abiding citizens of every race. I don't use the N word routinely.
So you don't like the word. So you don't like the word white supremacist, but you're totally okay at home calling black people the N word. Is that fair, sir?
No, I don't. That's not. It's not the chief thing on my mind, sir. I got involved in the Klan for various reasons.
Well, they're a hate group. They're a hate group. They wear their white hoodies. They don't show their faces like the cowards that they are. They hate on Jewish people.
True. Most of the marches I had were by ordinance. We were not, because of masking ordinances, we were not allowed to wear masks during the march.
They hate people based on religion and based on skin color. That's why they are a hate group, sir. And I wish you would admit that. And I wish you would, listen, I know you at your age, you're probably not going to change. And I don't expect in this conversation to change you at all. But you're also running for public office. You're running for the mayor of Biloxi. And you're telling me openly, and you just admitted that when you go home and a black person does you wrong, you use the N word to describe them. And I am amazed that you think that that's okay. I am amazed that you think that's all right. That would be that's the problem. You don't know, sir. It's disgusting. I can't believe.
I mean, all kinds of ethnic,
and it makes it wrong, and it's not right. I don't care about it. It'd be like,
who cares what a person says in their own house? I mean, it makes it.
You're running for
an Italian.
I'll tell you why.
Italian wrong, and they call them a dago.
I'll tell you why. Because you're running for public office, and it's not against the law for you to do that. But you're openly admitting that you hurl the N-word as a white man in anger because you don't like a black person. That is abundantly racist, and you are admitting that on this show, and you're running for mayor. You don't see a problem with that?
No, I don't, because I can guarantee you that there are many white people throughout the country who, when they have a bad experience with a black person, they probably make some ethnic slurs when they go.
Well, let me tell you something, sir. Let me be clear. Maybe the friends that you hang out with, but the white people that I hang out with do not use that word. They don't judge people on race. They don't judge people on religion. They treat everybody as equals. If you're a jerk, you're a jerk, and it shouldn't matter what the color of your skin is. Who's
defining who's the jerk? I mean, I don't.
If somebody treats me bad, I don't care what the color of their skin is. I also don't care if there are ethnic groups that date one another, black and white people, for example. I don't care. I wouldn't characterize Dr. Martin Luther King like you have as no good. Sir, I think with all due respect...
I don't call it because he's black, because he supported the Viet Cong victory during the Vietnam War, openly.
So you don't...
called Ho Chi Minh the George Washington of Vietnam.
You support Donald Trump.